Lots going on in the news. Peyton Manning in the sports world getting a bit emotional yesterday when he made his official announcement that he is retiring.
There's just something about 18 years. 18 is a good number. And today I retire from pro football. When someone thoroughly exhausts an experience, they can't help but revere it. I revere football. I love the game. So you don't have to wonder if I'll miss it. Absolutely. Every moment, every drop of sweat, every bleary-eyed night of preparation, every note I took, and every frame of film I watched was about one thing: reverence for this game. When I look back on my NFL career, I'll know without a doubt that I gave everything I had to help my teams walk away with a win. There were other players who were more talented, but there was no one who could out-prepare me. And because of that, I have no regrets.
You know, I feel bad for the. How many players every year retire?
Several,
and they all feel like Peyton Manning, and very few get the big press conference. And even if they do hold a press conference, very few get the big press from the press conference. Yeah. And you've earned it. I understand you've earned it. But think of all the others that go away quietly, which is probably the hardest thing to happen in football. Peyton Manning will probably move on to the broadcast booth, or maybe move on to coaching or something, right? Whereas a lot of these guys get out of football and their lives just go from this intensity level to nothing. And maybe they end up selling insurance or something. Now they've made a lot of money, but there's no relevance anymore. There's nobody cheering for them when they walk out onto the right? Unless you're at the meat counter, right? That commercial at the meat counter.
Is it Iggy?
Yeah, that was a good commercial.
Yeah.
Maria Sharapova failing a drug. But this is an interesting story. The drug test. Is it a? It's. They're saying it's heart medicine. It's something that was allowed and is no longer allowed. What are our thoughts on this thing? He was not apologetic by any means.
It appears that it's something that is classified, obviously, as a banned substance, and it has the ability to, I guess, pump more blood to your muscles. It seems like, though, she was taking it for a medical condition, which in other sports, in any event,
allow it. Yeah.
They would allow it, especially if you have a doctor's note. So, like in baseball, a lot of times you'd hear guys talk about greenies, which I usually think are amphetamines, which really makes you concentrate more. And, of course, it's a long season, 162 games. I'm not excusing it, but at one point that was very popular.
Yeah.
Those are now banned. You cannot use those unless you have a medical need for, like, an ADHD drug or something. So,
do we have a bit of a double standard, though? Because what can other athletes get away with, and they still keep their endorsements, and they all keep whatever and cheese?
There is a double standard. Even baseball versus football, a big double standard there, right? I mean, football gets away with an awful lot.
Yeah.
There's no way those guys get that big on their own.
Yeah, I would, I'd hate to go painting with a broad brush, but I know it's difficult to imagine a guy getting that big naturally.
Yeah. Romanowski, we used to have him, Bill Romanowski used to come on from the Oakland Raiders, who was really one of the meanest guys in the NFL, and would come on the air, and you could hear the pain in his voice on the air because of just getting up every day was painful. This guy put his life into it and said he would have done anything to stay in the game. Whatever it took to stay in the game, he would have done it. And he did. But there is, baseball is really tough today. They didn't used to be, but they are today. Some of these other sports, I guess they do get away with it. Bocce players get away with everything. It's terrible. Maria Sharapova yesterday actually did a little insulting at the hotel. She did her announcement yesterday.
I wanted to let you know that a few days ago I received a letter from the ITF that I had failed a drug test at the Australian Open. I did fail the test, and I take full responsibility for it. I don't want to end my career this way, and I really hope that I will be given another chance to play this game. And I know many of you thought that I would be retiring today and announcing my retirement, but if I was ever going to announce my retirement, it would probably not be in a downtown Los Angeles hotel with this fairly ugly carpet.
Turns out the carpet was pretty ugly. It was. And as she was walking out, she yelled at all reporters.
Omaha.
And that was the end of it. That was the end of it right there. How about there's an interesting story today, and we can debate this, I guess, but I don't think it's debatable. I think it's good. I think it's something that happens all the time in schools. This is a teacher in an elementary school in South Carolina. Started a club for the boys in his school to teach them how to show manners, how to be a gentleman. What do you think of that, Christine Bellino?
Well, and it's funny, weren't we just talking about South Carolina yesterday with the one teacher whose phone was stolen?
Right.
So those students could use a lesson in manners.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Once a week, they all dress up and wear ties to school. Sports does this a lot. If you're on a team, when you travel, you're always shirt and tie, black pants, white shirt, tie. I think that stuff is important. But we all know the person, even in adulthood, who says, I won't ever wear a tie. I don't care if it's a funeral. I'm not going to wear it. I won't wear a suit. This is how I am. They're going to have to accept me the way I am. Mm-hmm. Right? We all know people like that. But in this case, they're teaching, hey, you sometimes have to dress. And I'm not if you're like that, I'm not criticizing you. You are who you are, and I understand that. Everybody can be what they want. But at the same time, I'd like my kids to be, in some cases, for the respect of others, conform.
Right.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's not like you're giving up on what you believe in. You're just being respectful. And I think that's what this teacher is trying to teach these kids. And in some cases, the fear is this stuff is not being taught at home. Here, listen to this.
A gentleman is a nice person that helps people.
I was just thinking, well, maybe if I have to keep the boys dressed for success, so they look good, feel good, do good. When the last time you see somebody fighting in a tuxedo, and they like the reaction of walking out the classrooms? And
I've seen that. Just for the record, I've been to a couple of weddings.
Everybody said, oh, you look so nice, you look so handsome. So they just love it.
It makes me feel like a gentleman.
They have a lot of questions on how to be a gentleman.
We're learning proper etiquette, manners.
How to open up the door for ladies, treat ladies with kind and stuff.
And I know a lot of them struggle because a lot of them don't have men at home. So I just want them to grow up and think of the things that I teach them and just to have the great social skills so they can succeed. They perform well when they realize that someone cares about them.
What they said there, but they, I think that's a real positive thing, don't you think?
Yeah, I think that's fantastic.
It's not about just a single household. There are some kids that have a man at home that's just has no couth on his own.
Could we start having etiquette classes at the radio station?
Would probably be a good idea.
Yeah, not a bad idea.
Before
right?
we get to that, let's start with the basics. Can we teach people how to park between the white lines in the parking lot? Because that would double our capacity out there.
A story: 25-year-old, oh boy, 25-year-old woman in Houston caused. You're talking about me?
No,
I think I'm
not talking about you.
Yeah, okay. It's hard to see the lines when there's snow out there. It's been a very wintry, snowy winter.
You're not talking about me. I know that.
25-year-old woman in Houston caused an accident on the freeway yesterday morning. They're saying they weren't sure if she caused the accident, but now they're saying that they think that she did because she climbed up on top of a tractor trailer and was dancing naked. They couldn't get her down on this freeway. She was dancing naked for 2 hours. It caused a traffic jam. In one case, it caused a 3-car pileup. The woman is being treated at a hospital for a psychiatric condition. The witness in the clip here is a 68-year-old Pearlie Ward who saw it all happen and called 911.